Apparently my mic is muted. Sorry. I muted my mic. I've been sharing, I've been putting my heart on the sleeve now, and I haven't, shared anything. So um my name is 𝗩𝗶𝘃𝗁𝗂𝗵. This is Let's Humanize the Workplace. I am looking at a few things. I'm having a screen and I'm looking at my script. So this is Let's Humanize the Workplace. And as you can see, I sound a little bit different because I haven't been online last week, and I also haven't been online. I haven't been online last week, and that is because I'm dealing with some personal challenges. And even though I'm going through these challenges, I want you to know that I'm still doing my best to show up, especially doing the things that give me energy. And I also wanted to share that, there are some days that people don't have the energy, and there are some days that people do have the energy. So what I do to re-energize myself or regroup myself is looking at a vision board with all the lovely words of clients, of people, or whatever, everything that can encourage me. But there is also another woman who encouraged me, and that's 𝗛𝗛𝗃𝗶𝘰. I am dedicating this video to every woman who went through stuff, who's going through stuff, or who's going through stuff in the future, to know that we need to support each other, we need to empower each other, and I'm doing that through this. So just a moment, and then I'm going to start the video.
Hey, Queen, girl, you have done it again. You have made it through another day, despite all the challenges that come your way on a regular basis. And you look good doing it too. Every day these people will try you, but you've managed to stay grounded and remain focused on your goals and the task at hand. In fact, not only are you surviving, you're thriving. You dream it, you work hard, you grind till you own it, you twirl on those haters. There's nothing that you can't do, you won't do. So keep doing you, boo, because you're simply the best. And you don't have to get your groove back because guess what? You never lost it. Don't wait to exhale. Take a deep breath and remember that you are 100% that queen.
I love 𝗛𝗛𝗃𝗶𝘰, and it's not that I am ignoring the men, but sometimes we women, we endure a lot of BS. We endure a lot of the challenges that we're going through, and I am also doing this because, 8 March is coming on, International Women's Day, and I'm doing this because I need to be empowered, and I know that other people need to be empowered as well, mainly women, and that's why I'm sharing 𝗛𝗛𝗃𝗶𝘰. But on to the show, on to the program. My guest of today is Erica Reed, and before I bring her up, note that this is how to engage and how to keep your talent from jumping seat. It's a very important topic to discuss. So I'm very excited to have Erica come up. She's coming on now. And I'm going to blow her up. Yes. And Erica Reed, she helps businesses create healthier workplaces where people are more focused and productive throughout the day, have better work relationships, very important, and are more satisfied in the work that they do. Welcome, Erica.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yes, yes. Are you excited for this episode?
I am. I'm so very excited.
Not nervous, right?
Nah.
Okay, good. So if there are any people watching from any place, just let me know. If you're watching this from LinkedIn or from YouTube or from Facebook or from Twitter, just engage, just interact with us, and especially on LinkedIn. I have to watch my phone from time to time to see the comments, so I don't see that. I started with no sound. I muted myself, and luckily Erica told me that I should unmute myself, so I muted. The first 2 minutes or the first 1.5 minutes, it's silent. I will change that at the end, but know that it's not only about us two, right? We want you to be involved. We want you to engage. So if you have
Definitely.
anything to share or any questions to ask towards Eric or towards me, just let me know. And also let me know, where are you watching from? I am from Amsterdam, the Netherlands. And you, Erica?
I am from Maryland.
Yay! Maryland, where?
United States.
Where? Which state?
Maryland is the state.
Oh,
it's on
sorry.
the East Coast in the United States.
Sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so
Oh,
sorry.
it's all good. It's all good.
So which city then, should I ask?
My office is in Lanham, which is in Prince
Mhm.
George's County. It's about 20 minutes outside of Washington, D.C.
Okay. So I see that Patrick is watching, and I see Danique, who has been a previous guest, is watching Team Live. So if you're watching this episode, let us know if you're Team Live, or if you're watching it later, let us know that you're Team Replay, and I'll try and do my best to reply to those who share the questions or share the stories. So let's get into the nitty-gritty, right? So the first question I want to ask you is, how should organizations encourage collaboration?
I love this question because it actually starts with the most important part of collaboration, which is the organization. We can come in there and we can have all the best intentions, but it really does start with the organizations, both the vision and the values that the organization has. And if they start out with a clearly articulated, that means you have to communicate it, goal to have people on board actually work together to decide the future of the organization together, to really build that team. When they communicate that, then they're able to make it happen. And it really does start with the organization, whether they are trying to establish a new organization, or you're really trying to stretch out and work the team that you already have. It focuses on being solution focused, being strengths focused, and empowering people so that they can operate with self-leadership. And really, that's really important.
Definitely. So when you're talking about, you put an emphasis on team, you put an emphasis on empowering people. I miss that sometimes when I come into organization, because when they get you towards the onboarding, right, it seems like eventually the love is gone. No, really, the love is definitely gone. What can we do about that?
Well, and I think what you're saying is that they get you in there with a promise, but then they don't fulfill the promise.
Well, in a way, they don't feel a promise, but also I see a lot of programs putting an emphasis on onboarding people. So the first 30 days, the first 90 days, the first 160 days, or maybe the first 365 days.
Yeah.
But if you want people to stay in longer, I do believe that you need to work on that relationship longer.
Yeah.
It's a tango that you're dancing, or maybe the salsa, referring to what happened this weekend at Super Bowl, that salsa dancing. So you have to keep in mind that you need to keep things moving with the talent, but also keep things moving with yourself, that you're dancing a dance.
Well, I think the word that you said, which is really key to retaining talent, is the relationship.
Yeah.
You can't bring people on and onboard them, as you state, and then make them into an employee, and then that's it. Sit them at their desk, you give them their task, and then you have an expectation they just do it. There has to be an ongoing relationship. And with any relationship that you're in, rather than your personal life or your professional life, it has to be nurtured. You grow together, you develop together, you get to know each other at the different stages. The employee
sorry, I have to stop you. Can you repeat that? Because this is a very essential thing that you're saying. Nurture your employee, nurture your talent.
Nurture them. They need to grow. They need to be nurtured. They need to have the attention to develop all that they can become. The employee that they are in the onboarding process is not the same employee. It's not the same person 2 years down the line, 5 years down the line. And just like with any relationship, you have to grow together. Otherwise, you become stagnant, bored, discontent, and no one wants
Disengaged.
that. Disengaged. No one
Yeah,
wants that. And that's when they
yeah.
go seek. They step outside of the relationship to
They're
find what they need.
okay. You sound like they are cheating, right? No.
And that's, well, you know what? That's what happens. To be quite honest, if I'm sitting at my desk in a work
Yeah,
environment that I'm not engaged, I'm not
yeah.
fulfilled, and I'm scrolling through LinkedIn looking for another job,
True,
I'm not engaged in this relationship anymore. I'm
true.
looking for an exit strategy. And it's not cheating per se, but you want to know how to keep
Yeah,
people in. It's about the relationship you establish with them.
true, true. So that makes me come up to the next question. So, what can managers do to prevent talent from leaving?
So that is key because we want to make sure that managers understand their role. The manager's role is not just to do the tasks that are assigned to them by C-suite or by owners. The manager's job is to make sure their team is fulfilled, is engaged. And when a
Mhm.
manager operates from that perspective, then they're able to keep their talent there. You know, you're not sitting there and letting good people walk out the door because you did not keep them fulfilled. And a manager
Mm,
really has to balance out the job duty and the task assigned with fulfilling the needs of the people within the organization
true.
and
I believe
building
that
that
as well.
relationship. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the challenge with the manager is they have a lot of KPIs to work on to succeed within the company or to
Hmm.
succeed, make their team successful. But then again, you should never forget that you're working with people.
Yeah.
And it takes it takes a while to form a team, and it takes a while to build a team, and that's why I do feel like we need to take team building very serious, because
Hmm.
like you said, it's a relationship. You have to nurture it, you have to work on it, especially when a team is losing a lot of talent, because then you have to rebuild the team again, and they have to get to know each other again. And
Yeah.
every time you're doing that tango, you might ending up losing more talent because people are fed up doing the thing again, right? Repeating themselves again, not seeing
Hmm.
any improvement.
And no one wants to feel like they are stuck. You know, there was a Super Bowl
Mm,
commercial that fed off of a movie that was back in the day called Groundhog Day. And it's where you relive
mm,
the same
yeah,
thing over and over again. No
yeah,
one wants to go into the
yeah.
office and feel that way. And when, as you said, when
Hmm.
you have people that are constantly leaving and you have to restart this team building over and over again, the people that have remained, they don't feel valued anymore. They don't feel that they're growing. They feel stagnant and stuck. And it's like Groundhog Day. No one wants that.
Yeah, it's a good reference. I'll keep that in mind. We don't want no Groundhog Days.
No, we don't.
Are we doing a remix of No Scrubs? No Groundhog Days?
I can't
So the
sing, so
next
I
question.
won't do that for you.
No, I can't. I can't sing either. I can't sing either.
I'll hurt
I'll leave
somebody.
that up to the
Mhm.
professionals. So, you asked me a question. Can you say that out loud?
I would love to know, what is your definition of wellness? So many people in their mind think of wellness, and it means so many different things to so many different people. So I would love to
Mhm.
know how you define it.
I keep it very simple. When your body, mind, and soul is aligned, and when it's in a good balance, that's what I see as a personal definition of wellness. So you
Mhm.
being in the best state, your soul is being in the best state, and your body is being in the best state. And
Mhm.
when there is a disbalance in that, that's when illness comes
Yeah.
in.
Yeah. We don't.
Relationship with that.
Yeah, that the absence of wellness is where the illness
Mm,
comes from.
yeah, true, true. So, do you have any engagement tips, Tree,
Three.
for new managers?
Three.
Yes, Tree.
And I appreciate you limiting me to three because obviously, you know, I work
We
with
can go
new
on and
managers.
on.
I can go on and on. Because managers are hired more often than not because they have the ability to do the task at hand, not necessarily because their ability to lead people. And too often, new
Sorry, I
managers.
have to stop you. Can you repeat that last question, that last comment again? That thing regarding leading. So a new manager can?
They are hired more often than not because of their skill set to do the task, not necessarily because of their ability to lead people. That's not, some people are natural leaders, but some people need to be coached and trained to develop that skill to be a leader. And being a leader is a skill set. So when I'm working with new managers, helping them to understand how to be a leader, there are a lot of different areas to cover, but 3 that really are important are, number 1, maintaining a mindset of curiosity. When we're curious, we're constantly seeking new information. We're constantly seeking to grow. And when you're curious with your team members, it allows for creativity, it allows for new ideas, it allows the people on your team to feel like they are able to contribute to something. And you're not just going to keep doing things because I've always done it that way. Nobody, that goes back to Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
So curiosity is key.
Yeah.
A second one would be communication. And I think that one is pretty obvious, but as obvious as it is, we don't tend to communicate very well, especially new managers, because they're focused on getting the job done. And your team needs to hear from you, number 1, very clearly what their roles and expectations are. Number 2, what are the time frames that are really necessary for this? And they want to know why. If you think about it, you are more invested in what you're doing if you know why you're doing it. Back when we were kids, your parent would say, "Do it because I told you so." That doesn't work anymore. We're grown folk now. We want to know why we're doing it. And a way to engage your team is to give them the why so that they can feel like they're contributing to the overall success of the organization. And I would say the third one, which ends up being 3 C's, by the way, is coaching. Coaching mindset. You have to know that to engage your team, you need to coach them to understand what their developmental needs are. What we're not just giving critique, constructive criticism. We're also trying to help them to grow and to learn more about them so they can help themselves as well.
You said constructive criticism. I'm bearing myself, and I'm here in the Netherlands, we are known for being direct. That's one thing. But constructive criticism, not everybody knows how to give feedback. Right. Not everybody knows how to deliver the message. And it doesn't have to be always constructive, but I think it's connected to what you mentioned earlier, right? Regarding communication. People need to learn how to communicate towards people. Yeah. And see that they are communicating with people. And also what I keep in mind is, would you communicate to your child or to your mother or maybe your father in a certain way, the way you're communicating towards your employees or coworkers or your team members?
I think that's part of the challenge is when they walk in the door, they forget about the people. They just look at the job.
I saw that one on your LinkedIn wall where you shared that an employee is a person with a job title. And I also wanted to do, it's good that you brought it in because it seems like sometimes people forget, or, coworkers and managers and other people in the workplace forget that we're dealing with people. You're not dealing with a rock with no feelings, you're dealing with people. Yeah. So keep in mind that you're dealing with people and know that that person is also somebody else is rock, or somebody else is a best friend or partner. And I've been in a situation where my coworkers or a manager tried to break me. And I could not understand to the extent of what.
That serves no purpose.
To this day, I mean, No, it doesn't serve any purpose. The only purpose that it served is I can use it as an example to share that there is no need in breaking towards people. You can, sometimes it's better to have the conversation one-on-one, or sometimes it's better to just cool off and find a different time or find a way to communicate better.
Mhm. And those are key communication skills. I mean, you've listed a couple right there, knowing the when and the where and the how.
Mm.
And not everyone knows how to do it. It's not okay to call somebody out in the middle of a staff meeting or when you're walking down the hall. How you say it, the words that you choose, the tone of voice that you use is just as important as the words that you select to come out of your mouth. Having a level of emotional intelligence allows you to pick up on the best way to respond to people. And you find that people don't have it.
I would say read Brene Brown's book. All her books.
Yeah.
All her books. That's mandatory, especially the last one. It's so important to express your own vulnerability so that people can trust you and see where you stand, where you come from, because it shouldn't be a one-way, situation where because you have a certain title or you think you have a certain title that you can address a person in a certain way. It should not be. So thank you for sharing that.
My pleasure.
And I think it's also intertwined to what we're sharing right now. So you had this question that you wanted to know.
I would love to know, in your opinion, because I know that you have such a diverse work experience, both on the ground as far as the work that you do, as well as the social outreach that you do. So I'm curious, what do you think companies need to focus on to create healthy workplaces?
Mental well-being. It's the newspapers or media is screaming about it. People are screaming about it. And I find it very hurtful, in a way. Hurtful maybe is some kind of sarcasm where I'm laughing about it when people are complaining about people, being absent, people being calling in sick, people saying that they are dealing with stress, they are dealing with burnout. And I'm like, but what kind of tools do you have in place to prevent that? What are you doing to raising awareness? I recently read this one article about a bank. I'm not sure which bank it was anymore, but somewhere in Europe where they had, each department had a mental well-being officer or advisor or an advocate to support those who are going through a tough time. I think that's a good gesture and a good start. Or start workshops, start topics, start having these conversations where you can be honest without hurting each other, because then again, we're dealing with human, and we grieve, we laugh, we cry, we can sometimes be scared. And it's important that not only the fun part of ourselves can be included in the workplace, but also the other sides of ourselves can be included, because we want to be ourselves.
We do. We want to go into work as our whole self and
Definitely.
not wear a mask, not feel like we're being inauthentic, not feel like we're being fake, and being ourselves and being accepted for it.
Definitely, definitely. So when it comes to talent retention, right, do you feel like it's getting enough attention? Because we discussed something about onboarding. Do you feel like retention, or do you feel that?
Yes and no. I
Okay,
think it's getting
curious.
the attention because they see the talent walking out the door, and they know they're having a hard time getting new talent in the door because now the word is out on the street and people don't want to come and work for you. So I think the organizations are putting more pressure on HR. They're raising the awareness that this needs to happen. We need to do a better job, and it's getting attention in that way. But are the strategies that are being put into place sustainable and something that's going to have a long-lasting positive impact on the organization? Maybe not so much. That's where the yes and no comes from.
I totally agree, and also making it a HR problem or dilemma or challenge isn't fair, because it's something that it should be should be a responsibility towards every person within the company, and every person within the company should be made responsible for that, especially when you have a culture that puts that into place. You shouldn't be worried about that.
Exactly. It starts with the culture, but then they make it an HR problem, but then they don't empower HR to make the changes that they've identified as important and necessary.
Yes.
So they give them a problem, but don't let HR create a solution, which is unfair and does not do anyone any good.
Yeah, it reminds me of an article that I read recently about a Black lady. I don't know if you've read it, and if not, I might share. I can definitely share something about that. She is a diversity officer. She's been put into place being a diversity officer, but feels like she's put it into place there because of her ethnicity, and she's not giving the right or the authority to do something within the company. So for her, it feels like window dressing. That's what I got out of the story, but also putting people into place within the diversity and inclusiveness just for, just checking the box isn't sufficient anymore. So it reminds me definitely about that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good reference, because that's exactly what it is. It's checking a box.
Yeah. What can companies do to prevent from the knowledge drain? And I have to add in some information. So I recently did a podcast interview, or a while ago, where my guest speaker was sharing that it was an IT company where they trained somebody for about 2 years, and they noticed that, once a person leaves within those 2 years, it can cost the company money. And every month that that person stays in longer, it will generate money for their company.
And that's true. I mean, as far as you have the onboarding costs, you have the training costs, you have the trying to catch up on all the old stuff that didn't get done costs. So there's a lot that's invested into bringing on a new employee in that first 2 years. And when they leave, you have to, number one, as an organization, start all of that process all over again. But all of the knowledge that they now have is gone. And more than likely, there's a reason you brought them on board. It's because you saw something of value within them. So that value, that potential of what they can contribute to the organization is also gone. So it's really important for companies to have retention as a key focus for them, and not just make it an HR problem, but an organizational culture, as you said, to retain the good employees. And part of that is the personal development.
And also think about that, when a lot of people are leaving your company, it's giving the customer a sign like, okay, what's happening? Can I trust them? Can I rely with them? Because if I'm handing out my biggest projects towards them, can they fulfill that?
Exactly. It's people. I mean, with social media, everyone knows everything at this point in time. They can see everything that's going on. So if you're
especially when it's on this show,
hey. You got to think about the reputation of your organization, that you can't keep good people. At least that's the message that's being conveyed, whether it's accurate or not. It's out there.
Yes, definitely. Oh, I see so many reactions right now. So I wanted to just give a shout out to Lydia. Wow, lady, super interstitial discussion. Okay, this is a word that goes beyond me, but thank you, Lydia, for sharing that with me. Thanks for bringing it up. Do you see the whole self at work is more important to younger employees than rather elder ones?
I love that question.
I'll let you answer it first.
That is an amazing question. I think a lot of times that comes into the multi-generational.
Erica?
I see it now. Yeah, I just looked at my phone. I love that question. Thank you so much. And I think the multi-generational workforce is really key to that, because you have older, more established employees that have grown up and worked in a certain environment with certain expectations. And then you have newer generations that are coming in, and they have a whole different set of expectations just because of how the societal standards that they grew up in. And part
And
of
they are
that is
also bringing that
authentic.
spark, right? They are also bringing that spark towards a newer generation. So just to clarify, I'm not going to ask you to share your age because I'm sharing mine, but a lot of people think that I'm very young because, you know, black don't crack, but I am turning 40 this year. And
Ah.
I'm seeing a lot of the younger people, I think the Generation Z even, I'm seeing that they you know they don't even talk about it. They don't join your company, or they just put it on social media, or just put it on Twitter, or put it on wherever. And I do feel like there is something happening because of them, and a lot of people are standing up because of them. And
Mm.
I do also feel like, why can't we bring our whole selves to the workplace? Why is that? Why do we always need to be, you know, happy when something tragic has happened? Or why should we be hide that we, you know, we want to become parents, or we want to become a mother? You know, it's important that how you treat your people outside of the workplace, certain level. So I think the whole self part is going to be massive. It's going to be much more massive, and people, like you said in the beginning, authenticity will be key, and they will see through that. When a company is not authentic, when a culture is not authentic, they'll see through that. And otherwise, they have these websites where they can share a review, like Indeed. I'm not going to give, you know, some people some tips, but just Indeed, Monsterboard, and Glassdoor to share reviews. Just saying, just putting it out there.
Just put it in out there.
So the next person, interesting, says Lydia, and also, and also, just also Monique says she loves this. So thank you, Monique Arrington, for sharing the love. I really appreciate that you are participating in. So going back to the question that I wanted to, or one of the questions that you wanted to ask me. Yes, this one.
So I am a psychotherapist. So I work with clients to provide therapy on a day-to-day basis in my private practice. So mental health is key to me in everything that I do. And I love that that's important to you as well. But I want to know, why do you think mental health continues after all of this time to have this stigma attached to it?
It starts from home. It starts from home, and then it starts towards school. I mean, nowadays I'm seeing changes. My son is turning 7 this year, and they have these stickers where they can put their own names on, you know, I'm happy, or I'm feeling, you know, a little bit blah, or I'm not so happy today. To at least for the teachers to ask, why is it that you're not feeling happy on a one-to-one setting, right? Because in a group setting, as adults, it's not handy to do that in a group setting. As children, it's not handy to do that in a group setting. Well, at least they are starting to express their feelings, and expressing our feelings. Not everybody, or not every culture, or not every family knows how to do that and knows how to deal with that. And it goes on towards the workplace, where we are facing so many challenges, so many good things, so many bad things, that we don't know how to outlet ourselves. And I do believe that when it comes to mental health, we need to make it mandatory. You need to make the training mandatory, raise awareness. I'm not saying that, you know, you should express with everybody that you're going through something, but at least have a few, I'm trying to find the word, a few advocates, somebody who's helping you in the workplace, who has some education, or has some coach training regarding that, to have that conversation. And it doesn't even have to be somebody in the company. It's best maybe outside of the company, because that person can take it with them, and you can feel trusted when it comes to that. We need to stop it, because Justin Bieber has something, right? He recently declared that he was going through a mental illness. When you look at Lady Gaga, who's also declared that she was going through a phase, and we still look upon people like it's weird, it's silly. But seeing what we have to deal on a day-to-day basis and not knowing what somebody has to deal with at home, you can never judge a person for where they come from.
Very, very valid. You know, as you said, if we bring our whole selves to work, all of our stuff comes with us.
Yeah, true, definitely. I think I have two questions, unless, oh, Lydia, she said, by the way, you both of you look great. So thank you, Lydia. Thank you. Thank you. So, let me see. Why is self-leadership important for employee engagement?
Well, self-leadership is important because our response is our responsibility. You know, basically the choices we make are up to us. And while it will be key to be able to rely on our managers and our bosses or whatever you want to call them to create our success, we can't. We are in charge of our own success. And that means taking charge of what you want, having a clear vision, having clear goals, and then understanding the personal development needs that are keeping you from obtaining that success. And managing that and not allowing the environment to dictate how you feel. You know, we go into work and not be happy.
Can you repeat that last question, that last comment? Not what? What did you say?
Not allowing the environment to dictate how we feel. We can't conform ourselves to what's going on around us. We have to be responsible for what we want, how we get it, what we do, all of these things. It's up to us.
Definitely. And I also feel like if it's not happening within the company, then I think you need to reevaluate your situation.
Reevaluate your situation, see what your goals are and how you can go about achieving them. Sometimes it's really about trying to figure out how you can utilize your current situation to elevate you to your next situation.
I love it. I love that. So Monique is asking, what type of policies can we implement to ensure people are able to bring their whole selves to workplace? Wow, you're asking Pandora's box in one question. That could be a whole topic. But if you had something to choose, I would say work on the culture. Make sure that the culture breathes. Make sure that the culture is represented in the way you put it on the website, the way you put it on the mission statement, so that that it isn't window dressing, because I don't like window dressing. I like it to be authentic and to be pursuing the values that they have on their reporting or their CSR to attract talent, and not let it be a Disney story where in the end it's all fake.
Yeah, that consistency is key. Being consistent in everything. And I love the question because, you know, organizations don't move without a policy, but part of the problem is they have policies they don't enforce. And they don't enforce consistently. And a lot of times employees, team members, people, they become disengaged because they see the unfair treatment. What applies to one person doesn't apply to the other. So the policies that are in place, number one, need to be consistently followed. And then number two, policies to really create an environment where people feel development is key. You know, employees want to learn, we want to grow. And if you don't value my growth, then I don't value your goals as an organization as much. So policies need to include personal development.
I need to have a repeat something. I'm going to create repeat that sentence. Repeat it.
I have no idea what I said.
You said something about grow. I'm going to invent something like that because I need a repeat button because I keep doing this, keep doing the hoop shooting. So I'm going to repeat that. I loved it. I'm going to drag that out because that's an amazing sentence that you said about growing and letting us grow and nourish us. Please nourish us, right? Yeah. So Monique is on Monique is also sharing that I think companies should offer teletherapists to all employees during the work. I don't think that. I know that for sure that there should be a coach, somebody from the outside that comes in and just ask, maybe how are you, or how are things going, to keep that, keep that relationship going strong, because some people don't feel confident, or don't feel, maybe confident is a strong word, don't feel at place sharing what they're going through with somebody from the inside, because you never know that somebody could be an ally or could be an enemy, and you don't want to overthink that. So I do feel like we need to bring some people from the outside inside to have these honest conversations, and just sharing, just having that opportunity to share that can also be a relief.
Yes, yes. And as a therapist, I love that. I love that suggestion because it's key. You don't have to have a mental crisis in order to seek out counseling. It's there to support you, it's there to be a listening ear, and it's totally confidential. And I will mention, depending upon your location and the structure of your system within your country, you may have some organizations that have employee assistance programs where you are able actually to receive free counseling, depending upon how the benefit package is set up. But also your insurance company will offer you benefits to utilize.
That's in the States, though.
Yeah,
different. In each country is different,
it's
but
very
I think
different.
it's important to ask HR what systems are in place, what policies are in place, and also if there is something, use it. Especially when it is, something that could be free or could be with discount, that you can get with discount. Try to see that you can use it so that you know that it is in place, because I do agree that with what you shared is a lot of these benefits, a lot of these policies are invisible for a lot of employees, and I think it's also, no, I don't think, I know that companies need to do their best to make it visible, because you have it in place, you have these, these toolkits in place to help your people, then make it visible by showing them where they can go, so that they don't end up lost like Alice in Wonderland, right?
Very true. Very true.
Yeah. So another lady, Angeline, is a fan of you, or sorry, is a fan of Monique. So she's saying, absolutely, Monique, as part of the basic working conditions. So I'm very curious. I love it that you guys are engaging on LinkedIn that much. It's unfortunate that LinkedIn isn't, embedding the comments. So it's a challenge sometimes, but I'm doing my best. So Courtney is saying, you guys are making me going overtime.
I love it.
I hope that it's okay with you, though. I hope it's okay with you.
I love it.
Courtney is saying, along with walking the talk exactly of caring about employee well-being, use metrics to support the claim. Happier employees perform better, less stress. So she's referring to an example of Harvard Business Review study from 2018/2019, where they found that diverse companies performed 19% better. Thank you, Courtney, for sharing that. That's very important to emphasize on that. So please do. Yes, thank you. Last question, unless somebody else pops up with a question. But what is your hope when it comes to employee engagement, especially now we're in 2020? What's your 2025 vision for this topic?
I actually hope we're still talking about it, and that may sound a bit weird, but anyway, I hope we're still talking about it, because if we kind of circle back around to where we started, employee engagement, as you mentioned, is a relationship, and we grow and we change in our relationships. So what we need for employee engagement right now, more than likely will be different in 2025. So we need to continue the conversation, to continue to adapt as we as people and our needs adapt. AI is, all over the place now. So we're going to need to figure out how to work with artificial intelligence. I mean, our needs are not going to be the same in 2025 as they are now in 2020. So I do hope we don't make an assumption everything is all good. We don't need to talk about it anymore. I want us to continue talking about it. I just don't want us to be where we are right now.
I agree. I agree. I mean, you started off with like, okay, where is she going?
Where is
But
she going?
I totally agree. Definitely raise more awareness regarding to this, and also have my dream is to have something set up for regarding prevention. We cannot talk about the things that happen afterwards and be angry about it, or destroying people, or seeing people. Know that when a person ends up burned out or stressed or leaving the company, it's up to you to see how they're leaving the company. Because if they're leaving on a bad note, know that you might lose up customers, you might lose up future talent, and you might even lose your brand, you might lose your company. I'm just sharing that. So please pay respect, but also pay attention to what is happening and how you can change things for the better good. I'm not saying that you have to do everything at once, but take it step by step.
Yeah. One step at a time.
Definitely, definitely. So I'm just looking at LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is popping today. LinkedIn is really popping today. So, Angeline, there are a few comments now. By being clear on the core values of the company, you are also working on the culture within the company. And Monique is sharing, read your handbook.
Yes.
Handbook. Those are Bibles, right? Not everybody got time to read those Bibles. People need to know exactly where they need to find those rules, or where they need to find those benefits for them. So I would say maybe mail HR, mail your wellness. If you have a well-being officer at place, ask them what you need to ask or find out. A lot of those things are online, so maybe you can, there is a search filter for searching like that. So definitely.
And I will just say to that, a lot of times during that onboarding process, people are made aware of their benefits, and then that's it. They don't talk about them ever again. So it may be helpful as an organization, as a company, to have yearly reviews to say, these are your benefits. Let me remind you, please make use of them, because that helps the organization's bottom line. You're not paying for stuff that the employees aren't utilizing, and it helps the employee because they may have some things there that will create wellness for them that they didn't know they have, or they didn't remember they have.
True. I agree. I had so much fun, and you made my day so much better with having this discussion, because I started off a bit sad, but I really love doing this, and I love the things that you shared, and I just love everything that you just did. So thank you for doing this. And mind you, this is the second time that I'm speaking to her or seeing her live, and I only have to say that if you want to know more about Erica, follow her, Erica Reed. She's sharing a lot of tips on how to retain and gain your talent. And just follow her and keep that discussion going, because I do feel like this is not the last time that we will be talking. Maybe next time in the panel. Give me some time, but I will definitely work something out for the next time. So thank you.
Thank you. And I really appreciate you allowing me to sit in here and speak with you about this very important topic.
Of course. So for those who are watching, if you have any questions or comments, or maybe you see yourself here next to me, on the other side next to me, or you have a guest speaker that you want me to interview, just let me know, drop those comments, and I'm looking forward to the next time. So I'm going to share who will be on the next session. So upcoming Thursday will be a Dutch, sorry, my mouse is it's not working right. So upcoming Thursday, I'm going to do a Dutch live session. So I will start in the beginning warning you guys that it's a Dutch session, so don't worry. So you don't have to watch every Tuesday. I'll be live in English, but from time to time I will also go live in Dutch, because I'm in the Netherlands, I'm in Amsterdam, and I don't want to lose my Dutch people. So it will be about how to gain new talent. And next week, I have 3 screens, so I'm battling with that. So next week, Tuesday, I'll be talking to Kristen Anderson, real life example of daring greatly. This will be also a very cool interview, because I met Kristen online after she shared something on Twitter, which makes me, she's an example of what Brené Brown says about daring greatly. And that's why I'm interviewing her. I'm not sharing, why, but you have to watch next week to see that. And let me see. Thank you for watching Let's Humanize the Workplace. If you want to know more, or if you want to receive a notification for the next time, know that you can follow me on Twitter, on YouTube, or on LinkedIn to receive a notification, otherwise on Facebook. So thank you for the next time, and I'm saying goodbye.